Hello and welcome back to the KCC channel. I'm Rob and I hope you are having a wonderful day today. Today, I have two stories for you that will make you wonder if your spouse is the person you think they are. Before we start, if you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It's completely free and you can always change your mind later. Alright, on to the stories. Let's jump right in. This story comes to us from Not Moving In. My boyfriend and I were supposed to move in together. 2 weeks ago, he bought an $87,000 truck without telling me. I refused to move in with him. I'm very annoyed. He didn't even speak to me about it. We had so many discussions about moving in together, getting married, and then he goes and purchases a truck $2,000 more than his yearly salary. If you're asking, how can a truck be $87,000? That's the price you get when you put every addition you want on it. He showed me the truck expecting me to be excited, and I was livid. When he bought this truck, we were only a month from moving in together. We got into a bad argument where he told me it was his money and he could do whatever he wanted with it. So I said fine and told him I'm not comfortable moving in with him anymore. I asked my landlord if my apartment was still available and if I could renew my lease, and they said yes. Now my boyfriend is saying he can't afford his place and his truck. I don't feel bad. You should have thought about that before buying something so expensive without talking to your girlfriend of 2 years. I have had some of his friends' girlfriends reach out to me and say I should support him, and one even say that I'm not loyal, and this shows I wouldn't support him if we were married, since I run away when finances get bad. That's bullcrap. He didn't lose his job or get hurt. He bought an expensive item without discussing it. I've been trying to get him to return the truck because it's already affecting his finances badly. He has only had this truck for 2 weeks, and he is worried that in the next month or two, he won't be able to cover all the expenses he usually has. This past weekend, we had another argument, and I think our relationship is going to end. I'm not helping him pay for this truck, and I'm not moving in with him. I have asked for a break and will be thinking about what to do. OP added an edit down at the bottom. It says, "Edit, I appreciate the different opinions everyone has given me. I have a lot to think about. To answer 2 questions, no, he doesn't need the truck. He works from home, and if he has to check in at work, he has an office. Also, his friends and their girlfriends know about this issue because he asked for their views when he went to a get-together last week. Only 2 girlfriends reached out to me to tell me I wasn't being supportive. The others have minded their business." Jumping down to the comment section on this one, there's one from a user called AQ. It says, "Good job recognizing a bad situation when you see one. This dude fully expected you to supplement his lifestyle after moving in together. All his money would have gone to paying that truck, leaving you stuck with the lion's share of the bills. And that's why he's panicking now. Stay in your own apartment, OP. OP, this guy's financial choices do not need to be your problem. This guy's going to end up drowning in debt, and he was fully expecting you to pick up the slack on that one. Good on you for calling off living together, and if he has trouble with paying his own apartment, well, he could always live in that $87,000 truck, right?" Alright, OP updated this one. Let's jump into that now. The update is titled, "Update, I broke up with my ex that got the $87,000 truck, which I found out was actually $95,000. Yeah, so I broke up with him mainly because I realized we aren't financially compatible. Before I go into what happened, I do want to say something. I understand we weren't married, but we were both moving together into a new place and had several discussions about this move and our plans for the future, including marriage. For the people private messaging me saying it's his money and he can do whatever he wants, or you're only 2 years into a relationship, you're not a wife, I know that, and I have never asked what's in his bank account or told him what to do financially. I'm aware it's his money, but I also know his financial situation, and he was making decisions without my input that, if we were to stay together, would not only affect him, but also our relationship and our financial situation for years to come. I will die on this hill. This is not okay. And if it's okay for you, that's fine, but for me, if we make a financial plan and you make a huge decision without me, I won't be okay with it. And that's a big reason why I backed out of moving in to a new apartment with him. I would have never made a decision like this without his input at all. The main reason why we decided to move in together was to take the next step in our relationship, but also to pay down our debts. I now have $22,000 debt from student loans and a car. When I met him though, it was around $60,000 and I was basically living on credit cards. Within the first couple of months of us dating, I saw how hard he worked, and with a salary of $85,000, he was making huge progress in paying off his loans and credit cards. On my end, at the time, I was only making $50,000. I honestly saw his work ethic and was like, wow, and got serious about my debt. I got a second part-time job where I was making $32,000 a year, bringing my salary to $82,000. I did that so I could pay off my debts faster, but also so that we could be on equal footing when we moved in together, and he didn't have to pay significantly more in living expenses than me when he had more debt. We did complete a budget months before we moved in together, and realized that we would each have $700 extra a month to put towards our own individual budgets. This is why the purchase of this truck was so surprising to me. We had planned this move for months. We had a budget, and he destroyed that plan with the truck. If he wanted a new car, there are plenty of cars he could have gotten that would have fit into the $700 monthly surplus he had. Anyway, for the past few days before we broke up, he tried to show me that this truck was a good financial purchase and that we could still move in together. He told me that he had actually budgeted for this and could show me how he could afford this. I wanted to hear him out, so I went to his place and he had two budgets. He said he had been thinking of getting this truck for some time, and he had worked out a budget beforehand. He showed me the first budget, and after his truck, insurance, expenses, and his debts, he was left with $115 for the month. I noticed with the first budget, he didn't include groceries, his hobbies, going out, or even gas for his truck. I asked him how $115 was enough to live off of for an entire month. I asked him how he could afford all of this and his truck, and if he planned to give up some things. He said no, he didn't plan to give up anything, and that he could make everything work in his budget. I asked him what if he had an emergency or needed gas for his truck, and he just kept saying he would work it out without explaining how. After I saw the first budget, I asked to see the documents for the car, and that's how I found out the truck price was $95,000 total after taxes, registration, and fees. He traded in his reliable 2003 Toyota and all his savings to get a loan at 14% for 72 months. His monthly payment is now $1,966, and insurance is $573. He also still has student loans which are significant. I kept telling him $115 left over monthly wasn't enough. That's when he showed me his second budget, which had a combined higher monthly income. I asked him if he was getting a second job, and he said due to his job relying on him to be on call, he couldn't. I asked where the income was coming from, and this man said, well, you're getting a raise soon. I froze because I had mentioned this raise once months ago. My first job is my career job, and I work in a field where when you hit certain milestones, you get a pay bump. In September, if my raise is approved, I will go from $50,000 to $80,000. And with my second job, my total yearly income will be $112,000. But getting the raise isn't a guarantee. You have to meet certain criteria, and if you don't, you have to wait 3 months before trying again. When he said that, I was quiet. And then I said, so you planned a budget that included additional income that I wouldn't get for at least 6 months, and income that I might not even get in September. He said when I got my raise, the ratio of what he would pay would decrease, and he would have more disposable income. I asked him why it was okay for him to plan budgets with my income, but yet I had no say in how he spent his. He couldn't answer that. I told him I had no issue with paying more bills if I got a raise, but the fact that he banked on that, didn't discuss it, and now expects me to be okay with this is ridiculous. I also said there's no way I wouldn't be paying more with the first budget because he wouldn't have been able to survive on $115. I told him he didn't communicate, and this is on him because he made a huge financial plan without discussing anything. Finally, I told him I would never have done any of this without going to him first because I thought we were a team that was building something. I ended things the next day, and he's been trying to reach out, but I'm not interested. He has financially crippled himself with this truck. If with my income now he could barely make it, he sure isn't making it on his own. I really hope that things work out for him and he is able to keep his truck and recover, but I'm not paying the consequences for such a massive financial mistake that's going to hugely affect him for years to come. If I were to stay, this financial decision affects me as well, and would continue to affect both of us for years. Again, this is different from becoming ill or losing a job. He chose this and refuses to budge and fix it. I now realize we are not financially compatible, and that's okay, and I wish him the best. OP added an edit at the bottom of this one. It says, "Edit, thanks everyone for all the support. I don't hate my ex, and I really hope he's able to recover from this. It was such a learning lesson for me in how one mistake can ruin you financially. It has made me even more cautious, but also determined to keep working towards a better financial future for myself." Jumping down to the comment section on this one, there's one from a user called TurtleDive1234. It says, "I am so proud of you. I really wish more young women were as firm in their boundaries and wise about finances as you are." Mind you, this doesn't make him a bad person, but it does give you an insight into what the future would be like with him. Another commenter called Destructicus Dawn said, "Good for you. Real sleazy move. And he's an absolute moron for trying to pull something like that. It's insane that this dude thought that you would be alright paying for his new truck. He's 100% aware of what he was doing, and I'm glad you got out." Another thing to think about in this situation is that 14% interest rate, because that generally means that their credit is already shot enough that people don't want to take the risk lending to them, so the interest rate is nice and high. Now, I do want to say he was completely within his rights to go out and get that truck. It's his money, he can spend it how he wants to, but he can't count on her money. And she is also completely in the right for deciding this isn't how she wants to spend her life. This story comes to us from LimpCrazy1824. "Am I wrong for ultimately wanting a divorce even after my wife has showed much more effort into our relationship?" For context, coming into the new year, I had no idea my wife had been at the bare minimum having an emotional affair with a coworker. On New Year's Eve, before I found out about this, she came home and acted extremely cold towards me and our kids. She was angry. Earlier on that evening, she asked if she could go out to have one drink with a female coworker, whom I knew and trusted. I told her that was cool, but that the kids were staying up for the ball drop, so as long as she could be back to celebrate with them, I was fine with it. Well, she ended up getting off work at 11:30 and barely had enough time to get home. After the ball drop, she cried and cried. I asked her what was wrong, and she said she got invited to her friend's house to have drinks with them. All three of them women, all married, I had no issue. I said, "Look, I'm not sure what's wrong and why you're crying about this. That's fine. You deserve a girl's night out every once in a while. I don't mind watching the kids, just go." I put the kids to bed, she left, and then about 3 hours later, so 3 a.m., I tried to contact her. No answer. I wait about 15 minutes, call her again, no answer. I call her friend who she's supposed to be with, no answer. She then texts me back 5 minutes later and says, "Yeah, I'm still coming home tonight. We're still drinking." Never in 6 years of marriage had I felt a gut feeling that something else was going on, but that night it all hit me. I went through our phone records and found another number I was unfamiliar with that she had been in contact with all night, ignoring my calls, texting that number in between, etc. She had also been texting this number for a 3-month period daily. I never suspected that she would be texting another dude while right beside me watching family movies either. As times had shown, how I didn't see this, I have no idea. Maybe she had this individual listed as mom in her phone. I don't know. I had never gotten this vibe or feeling our entire marriage. I was blindsided by it. Anyway, I confronted her about it through text with the proof like an idiot. She speeds home, deletes everything on her phone. No way of getting the backups restored. No way of ever knowing if she met up with this guy. Upon finding this out, I immediately told her I want a divorce. It was at this point she began getting violent with me, talking crap about everything I had been doing to keep us financially stable. The 18-hour workdays that kept a roof over our heads. She told me that I needed to leave even though I pay rent and both our kids are asleep. I refused. We slept in separate rooms that night, and the next day she tried to act like nothing even happened, claiming that she remembered we'd fought but couldn't remember what it was about. So I show her the phone records even though I'm positive she was just trying to pull some crap. She confesses who the individual was and says they flirted a lot but never met up. I told her if that was true, she'd have no issues restoring the text messages she deleted, at which point it was confirmed she deleted everything and deleted her last backup. She also saved a backup after they were deleted the night after everything went to crap. Since then, she's tried hard to convince me they never did anything and never saw each other aside from work. I keep finding bits and pieces of things that don't make sense. Chunks of text deleted from her friends' messages around that time, pictures on her Google Drive from that night where she was with who she said she was, deleted from her phone. For what reason? The most damning evidence I have is a 2-hour period on New Year's Eve. They stopped texting each other, then randomly started texting again around 3 a.m. when I started calling and got that feeling. My gut tells me she left her friend's place, went to his place, and went back. Or she went straight to his place from our place, then went to her friends when she found out I was calling them. There are revealing pictures of herself she never sent me, also on her Google Drive, taken on Snapchat. She's since given me all her attention. She initiates intimacy tenfold. The texting stopped. She shows me everything on her Snapchat and even downloads her data to show me she's not hitting other people up. I'm seeing the side of her I haven't seen since we were married all those years ago. But I can't help but just trust my gut in demanding a divorce. I feel like she's kept things from me, not knowing for sure is killing me inside. My parents know all of this and keep pressuring me to work it out and not dwell. My brothers are saying F that, get a divorce. Am I wrong in getting a divorce? Keep in mind the dates. It's now been over 4 months since this occurred. I'm positive she cut the individual completely out, but I still can't get over the not 100% knowing, and my gut tells me she's still lying. OP added a couple of edits down below. The first one says, "Sorry for the way this was written. I'm aware there's some jumping back and forth, etc. I'm just scatterbrained right now. It's honestly getting to me more now than the night I found out. It just keeps building. I feel stupid." The next edit says, "Also forgot to add, the individual in question is an employee she manages, as in she is his direct supervisor. I've heard there are greater legal consequences for this, but I have no idea." OP's next edit is an odd one, but we're gonna read it anyway. It says, "For clarification, the individual in question is actually morbidly obese, and I'm by no means fit, but I'm not fat either. Went back and looked at the timestamps for the pictures that were deleted of her and her friends that night on Google Drive before that 2-hour period of no texting. During and after, there were several pictures taken with verified timestamps on them, as in they cannot be changed on Google Drive. Whether or not she has a friend that's tech savvy and was able to do that within the 10 minutes it took her to get home upon confronting, I don't know. Is this possible?" One more edit down below says, "Currently on my morning break at work, been reading through the comments. I have off tomorrow all day, so I will be heavily weighing my options when I get some time to myself. May not update tomorrow, but I'll update y'all when I can. Thank you for all the input, positive and negative. The best thing I can do right now is just get through the work week, get my kids from daycare, and be mentally present for them. I've been ignoring her since last night, and she's been snapping and calling me all morning to see what's wrong. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, we have one from a user called No Spanking Allowed. Oh. It says, she's love bombing you. She hasn't stopped with that guy, but love bombing will make you think you are all she thinks about. It'll slowly wind down to what it was before once she thinks she has you back to being clueless. She's met up with the guy. You know she did. Heck, there's enough here to make anyone believe she might have met up with him. What do you think she was crying about? She wanted to be with him for New Year's Eve. Take it from there. You don't know everything. You most likely never will. She'll just hide it better. OP, you're never going to know the truth. She deleted everything, so it's just her word telling you that she didn't do anything. And if you don't trust her, that's really all you need to know. If you continue in this relationship at this point, she knows that she can lie to you and get away with it. And that will lead to even more things that she's not telling you about. Alright, OP updated this one. Let's jump into that now. The update is titled, Update, Am I Wrong for Divorcing My Wife Even Though She's Taken Steps to... My wife had an emotional affair at the bare minimum and may have cheated. Probably did, but will never admit it. Here is the update. I sit here typing this out on my morning break while listening to Tuesday's Gone by Leonard Skinner. After a long day of considering my options on Friday, I sat my wife down on Friday evening when she got off work, and I had put the kids to bed. As soon as I brought up that my trust in her was completely gone, she immediately became argumentative and essentially stated, I thought we'd left this in the past. You never trusted me, did you? I responded with, even if you didn't do anything physical or met up with him outside of work, you'll never let me see those text messages. You'll never pull the Snapchat data. She responded with, you're right, marriage is based off trust, and if you don't trust me, then maybe we ought to just call it quits. The irony in this is that I worked 18 to 19 hour days for the past few years, barely being able to do anything I wanted to do in my life because I was supporting our children, getting them to bed, cleaning the house all the time, doing all the cooking, barely even getting enough sleep. Probably took years off my life just from the stress. She, on New Year's Eve, said F the kids, F you, and essentially went out to party with her friends all the while ignoring calls from me and our daughter asking where she was, while also responding to her bare minimum emotional affair partner. Not getting into all the details so as to not repeat myself between this and the update. Long story short, in my state, we have to be separated for a year before a divorce can be finalized. When I agreed with her that we should start separating and that I had already been in contact with a lawyer, she freaked the F out on me. She begged me not to go through with it, but alas, next Friday, I will be dropping her off at her parents' a few hours away. The kids will be staying with me for now with the help of one of my brothers. I told her there was only one way I would put this off for now. That was pull the data, pull the text, prove your case. She looked down at the ground one more time and told me that's a violation of her privacy. We haven't spoken since. For now, for my kids, I gotta keep on keeping on. OP added an edit at the bottom of this one. It says, update trickle truth. First, it was a guy in a different state. Second, it was a coworker. Third, it was someone underneath her that she supervises. Fourth, and just now, randomly got a text from her stating she may have told him she loves him, but instantly regretted it. And that's it. Right. Also, let me reiterate, the process of separation starts this coming Friday. In my state, you cannot divorce immediately. It takes a full year. I say this because of all the people stating, just divorce and be done with it. And also those stating, stop giving second chances. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, we have one from a user called Not Greg, but Maybe. It says, she knows she can't show you the text because they prove her affair and how far it went. By not showing you what was being said between them is all the information you need. It was so incriminating she couldn't bear to show you them. You did the right thing. She failed the marriage test, and you need to move on and find someone that respects you. Sorry you're going through this. Good luck going forward. OP, when you drop her off at her parents' place, make sure you drop something really subtle like, we can talk again and stop this process if you just hand over those messages. You know, the ones that you're hiding from me. That's really all you need to say before you turn around and walk away. It might even turn her parents and her family against her. When you gave her that final chance to show you the texts and photos and she just looked at the floor, that was really all you needed to know. OP, I really do wish you the best of luck going forward. I hope you find somebody who appreciates you for you and understands the value of a relationship. Did you know every KCC video is also produced in podcast form? You can search for Karma Comment Chameleon on every major podcasting platform. I thank you for watching and listening. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you in the next one.